Accord isn't exactly a style leader, but it isn't offensive to the eyes either. It is a little more stylish than the previous generation, but that's like saying flip-flops are more stylish than Crocs. And if you're wondering, yes, this is the 4-cylinder touring model that is sold exclusively north of the border.
I never liked the 5th generation Sonata. For me, it was too curvy and fashion-forward, and apparently I wasn't alone, because for the 2015 model year, the 6th generation Sonata has been redesigned with a more conservative style, more akin to the Genesis sedan, and so far, I'm a fan.
The inside of the Accord is laid out very ergonomically and is a comfortable place to be. Both strong points this car's had, well, forever. I really like the dual display screens, as I can see my audio and navigation information at the exact same time. The inside of the Accord is very similar to the outside. It's dull, simple, but very functional. Luke and I agree, when it comes to actual driver comfort, there is no comparison. The Accord wins hands down. The front seats are so much more comfortable and the leather feels better. More importantly, for someone my height, is headroom. There's ample here in the Accord, whereas in the Sonata, I'm almost brushing the headliner. And as well, my knee has a nice soft place to rest in this car, whereas in the Sonata, it's against a hard plastic edge. In the back, with 38.5 inches of rear legroom, there's a lot more sprawl out space in the Accord than the Sonata. Headroom's slightly less, but really both cars' adults will fit in the back, no problem.
Just like with the outside, Hyundai went in a more conservative direction with the Sonata's interior, and I've got to applaud them for it. Yeah, the Accord has more rear seat legroom, but remember this, I've got heated rear seats, not to mention cooled seats up front with heating, of course, and also a heated steering wheel. It shouldn't come as much of a surprise that Hyundai is up to its old tricks again, arming its cars to the teeth with segment-busting features. Trouble is, they still haven't addressed a lot of the things that were sort of problematic in their past cars either. Yes, the interior looks really nice, but there are quite a few areas made of hard plastics and obvious parts of the interior, like this portion right here in the center stack that has panels that just don't line up. Worse still, the seats are particularly uncomfortable even with how adjustable they are. And honestly, that all is really, really disappointing.
It's obvious a formula is emerging to build the perfect family sedan. Just look at these two cars. They have the exact same horsepower, their curb weights are within 6 pounds of each other, they're 1/4 inch apart in overall length, and they ride on the exact same tires. Now, the one area they do differ is in the transmission. Yes, the Accord has a CVT, but you know what? Who cares? This may well be the best CVT on the market. In regular operation, drivers won't even know that it's a CVT instead of a conventional 5 or 6 speed automatic. And on the highway, it does its best to make the engine not drone. Probably the most important point, though, is real-world fuel economy. The Accord is officially rated higher than the Sonata, and in our testing, they both achieved their official ratings, which means this car is more efficient. The engine itself is powerful enough for this car. I mean, it's not a speed demon, but people in this segment aren't really looking for that. It just stays in the background most of the time and doesn't make a lot of noise, which again is what you would want in a mid-size sedan. The Accord has always been one of the most predictable cars to drive, and for 2014, nothing's really changed. All the key controls like steering, throttle, and brake require little effort, and the car just does what you want it to. The Accord may have lost some of its sporty feel over the years, but it's traded it off to be a much easier car to drive. I dare anyone to get in this car and not feel comfortable within minutes. My two biggest complaints behind the wheel have to do with the steering wheel that seems to block the upper portion of the speedometer, and it's not just me. Drivers of different height are having the exact same issue. And my second complaint has to do with the audio screen. As much as I like having a separate second screen, it's not customizable enough for my liking, and there's no tune knob. I guess I shouldn't complain though. At least there's still a volume knob, something that's disappearing on a lot of modern Hondas.
The Sonata's steering is heavier, but it still isn't as responsive as what's in the Accord. 10 years ago, I would have laughed at the idea of putting these two cars in the same sentence, let alone a comparison, but Hyundai really has come quite a long way in its products. The Sonata doesn't feel as well balanced as the Accord does, and you're never going to take it out for a fun drive on a Sunday afternoon, but then again, you're probably not going to do that with either of these cars. And at least with the Hyundai, the suspension does a great job of soaking up all the bumps and potholes that you're likely to be rolling over in daily driving. And even if it's not the most powerful car on the road, it's especially quiet. And if you're going to be going on a long drive, that, to me at least, means an awful lot. And keep in mind that the Sonata also has a larger trunk, which again, you don't get quite as much rear seat legroom, but you can also carry a little bit more stuff in the back. One of the other things I really like about the new products coming from Hyundai these days is the touchscreen control system, and specifically what you can do with XM Sirius satellite radio, because you can actually press a button and then scroll back to the songs that you were listening to a few minutes ago if you don't like what's on the radio right now. If I had to pick one word to sum up the Sonata, it would be refinement. It's sexier, it's smoother over bumps, and it comes with more technology.
And that may be its downfall. It's trying too hard to be premium. The Accord just makes more sense. It's more comfortable, easier to drive, and more efficient in the real world. These are all things that buyers in the mid-size sedan segment are looking for.